second day, officials say lives were lost in the flames.
We've had 6 fatalities that we were able to confirm.
People running for their lives as one of the blazes engulfed the historic town of Lahaina. Residents describing it like a scene out of hell.
It was like an apocalypse.
I don't think we've seen anything like this in our lifetime.
The winds acting as fire fuel, decimating hundreds of homes and businesses. Thousands who were forced to flee lost everything.
I just have my shirt and my hat that you see, my glasses.
We only got like a partial suitcase, not even a toothbrush.
And stranded visitors are trying to get home.
We spent the night here with about 1,200 people, and now we're waiting for our air crew.
Now a massive multi-agency emergency response is underway, with more resources headed to the Valley Isle.
Search and rescue, traffic control, and security.
The extent of the destruction is still unclear, as the threat is not yet over.
We can compare it to Evacuee, but the difference is nobody was prepared for this.
And tonight, Maui forever changed as wildfires destroy historic Lahaina town.
At this hour, fire crews are still trying to contain the flames, and so many residents and visitors are still trying to track down loved ones. Here's what we know so far. The fire started in Lahaina Tuesday afternoon, a flare-up from an earlier blaze that had previously been contained and only scorched 3 acres at that time. But then the winds peaked and the fire quickly got out of control, raging through homes and spreading through town. At
least 14 people had to be rescued from waters off Lahaina who jumped in trying to escape the flames. More than 100 firefighters are on the scene. And on Tuesday, firefighters were not able to use helicopters because of the high winds, but the gusts have subsided enough to allow for airdrops.
6 people have been confirmed dead in the fire, and at least 20 have suffered serious burns, with several airlifted to the Straub Medical Center's burn unit. Officials say 3 are in critical condition. More than 2,100 people were housed overnight in county emergency shelters, and the state is discouraging all non-essential travel, with 4,000 tourists flown from Maui to Oahu. The state is providing shelter at the Hawaii Convention Center. And Maui County says 3 active wildfires continue to burn around the island, the one in Lahaina, one in Kihei, and the other upcountry in Kula. The county has not released any numbers on acres burned or percentage contained. And we have team coverage tracking this disaster from all angles. Chelsea Davis spent the day surveying the damage firsthand in Lahaina. Daryl Huff is in Kihei and spoke with residents who were forced to evacuate. And our first alert weather team breaks down the high winds fueling the fires.
Lynn Kawano is following the latest developments in Kula, where wind continues to fan the flames of another brush fire. Jolani Martinez is at the Hawaii Convention Center, which is being set up as a shelter for both displaced residents and out-of-state visitors. And the images to emerge over the last 24 hours, just staggering. As the sun rose this morning, this is what residents woke up to in Lahaina. This is the center of town, a tourism hub famous for its art galleries, restaurants, and shops. It's right along the water, and this is one of the areas where residents jumped into the ocean, fearing for their lives as flames and smoke engulfed the town. This is again being called the worst natural disaster in Hawaii since Hurricane Evacuee.
And check out these before and after images of Lahaina Harbor. You can see how the fire decimated the once vibrant West Maui community, now gray and covered with ash and soot.
And this is video just in showing flames consuming the home of Lahaina resident Patrick Grady as he stands there, unable to do anything but just watch. His home, just one of the many structures engulfed overnight.
It's still surreal, although I know it's real. Yeah, I got to my place and it was just on fire. But the winds were 60 mile/an-hour plus. It seemed almost like it was constant, and it was just a struggle just to see these poor firemen and policemen trying to do their jobs, and it was just it is what it is. It was horrible.
Grady tells us he ended up spending the night at a stranger's house, but then needed to once again be evacuated.
And whipping winds are fueling the flames in Kula as firefighters try to keep them at bay. This is new video showing the challenging conditions in that part of the island. It's stretching firefighting resources. extremely thin.
And right now, Lynn Kawano is in Kula, where many areas are shut down.
She continues our team coverage and filed this report.
We're on Old Haleakala Road, which is closed to the public right now. You can see some areas are still smoking, still smoldering. There's heavy smoke in this area. Our eyes are burning. It's getting a little bit difficult here to breathe. We could definitely smell, and you can see that the fire came through here last night. But why this road is closed, there's debris on it. There's down trees. A little further up, there's down power poles and power lines. So the people here on Old Haleakala Road are cut off. We're just near above Pukalani, and Pukalani residents we spoke to said they were very concerned. They were worried this fire was going to go straight down the hill into their subdivision too.
This is just so devastating. It's unbelievable how fast it just came like that in all directions. And at our house, we had down P.E. Holo fire, and then right across from us, what would you say, 200 yards?
About 200 yards.
And it just kept coming. We could hear it. It sounded like it was roaring like a river, like raging like a river.
From our place, looking up here, it looks like it's right in this area, the way it was smoking. That's why we had to come up and go find out exactly where it was.
It does seem higher than you thought?
Yes,
it's a lot higher.
It was right.
You can see the winds are still pretty strong, lapping up some of those flames in the dead trees that burned overnight. You can see there's still some thick smoke, and that's why Old Haleakala Road remains closed. In addition to all that debris up top that they are working to clear, this road is going to remain closed for now. Reporting on Maui, I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Lynn. Well, thousands of people are impacted by the fires on Maui. Both locals and visitors have had to find a place to stay.
All while the blazes continue to be a problem. Daryl Huff takes us to Kihei, where strong winds rekindled flames. What are you seeing out there, Daryl?
Hey, Mark, right down behind me, an impromptu fire crew has jumped into action in order to try and make sure that this fire doesn't come down into this subdivision. This is the Halipilani subdivision in Kihei. We are next to a affordable housing complex that has just been evacuated. The fire is perhaps about a quarter mile or so up the hill from here, and as you can see, people have tapped into a fire hydrant and they're pumping water as they can. There's also a bulldozer creating a fire break, and there's a water truck that comes by occasionally. In fact, he got us pretty wet. Earlier today, just about an hour or so ago, we were in the Kai Wahine subdivision, which was evacuated last night, and as I told you, it was just evacuated again about 40 minutes ago. It's a big deja vu moment for the residents there who watched very nervously with us together, watching it. The flames got within just a few hundred feet of the back fence of that housing project until finally the police came and evacuated us. But let's listen to some of the people. This is a family who was evacuated last night and has been evacuated once again today.
Kind of nervous. Kind of nervous with the wind picking up, and I mean, they're doing a good job trying to keep it contained, but the wind goes its own direction. Everything is still in the car from last night. I didn't unpack anything, so everything is ready and set to go.
They said I would have to head out.
Now, we were also at Maui High School this afternoon, where the Red Cross has opened a shelter there, and we saw such an outpouring of community support for the folks that have been pushed aside, pushed away from their plans, pushed away from their lives, and dislocated by these fires. Many of the people here were from Lahaina and had to escape the fires. Also, many tourists were here, having been told that they need to either leave the island while they're waiting, in many cases, for their stuff to somehow be retrieved from Ka'anapali. Here's a couple of people we talked to there at the Maui High School shelter.
First thing I'm seeing is the outreach that our communities have given to the people in need. We can speak on the importance of aloha in practice, but we're seeing it. There's a lot of people who have been affected, but there's also a lot of people who haven't been affected. And the folks who are coming to help, we see that they're coming with love, that burning up that sweat equity, donating their time, their treasure, whatever they can do. I've seen a lot of outpouring of love in this time.
And finally, earlier in the day, there was a big outpouring of love at the Walmart at Kahului, of all places. That's where lots of refugees from the fire and hotel guests gathered just on their own during the evening. And then Walmart was kind enough to open up their restrooms about 1 in the morning, and then they brought in porta potties. They offered folks water and a chance to get their supplies. But again, many stories of great sadness and loss in the Walmart parking lot. Earlier, how you doing?
Not wonderful, that's for sure. It's been a super intense couple of days. I mean, the power went out yesterday at like 4:30 or 5 a.m. and then the gas station blew up at like 3, and since then we've just been trying to outrun a fire. And just the further we got away, the further the fire climbed.
Okay, we're now keeping track of the fire here in Kihei, as you say. There's an impromptu fire crew here, having tapped into a fire hydrant. They're putting water on the grass. The grass is very high. The people here in this neighborhood are very nervous. Ash is falling on us as we speak. Reporting from Kihei, Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Daryl. Be safe out there, please. Governor Josh Green is on his way back to the islands after cutting a personal trip to the East Coast a week short. Today, Acting Governor Sylvia Luke met with officials.
She is urging visitors to stay away from Maui because it is not safe right now. Mahea Richardson joins us now with the latest. Mahea.
Well, Mark and Ash, it is all hands on deck for county, state, and federal agencies as firefighters battle the flames while others try to assess the damage and move thousands of people from Maui.
On Maui, emotions are raw as firefighters battle the flames and residents struggle to contact their loved ones. State officials say it could take a month to repair damaged fiber optic cables.
There's so many people in our community putting their lives at risk to try and keep communities safe.
They said it was like an apocalypse. It's just really sad. We can't get a hold of anyone.
Officials say it was like a hurricane hit, even though it was far south of Hawaii, and no one expected so much devastation.
It was confirmed we've had 6 fatalities that we were able to confirm, and we are still in a search and rescue mode. And so I don't know what will happen to that number. We've had many dwellings, businesses, structures that have been burnt, many of them to the ground, mostly in our Lahaina neighborhood.
Acting Governor Sylvia Luke is asking tourists to stay away because of the strain on the island's resources.
Even as of this morning, planes were landing on Maui with tourists. This is not a safe place to be. As more things get deployed, there are concerns about potential riots. There are concerns about, people not having aloha. This is really time for us to have aloha and patience.
In a statement, President Joe Biden said in part, Jill and I send our deepest condolences to the families of those who lost loved ones in the wildfires in Maui. I have ordered all available federal assets on the island to help with response.
We're assessing the damage while we try to contain it at the same time. The federal government will be there for this disaster, but this is going to be a long road.
How soon could the funding and aid come to Hawaii?
I would say that it's going to be pretty immediate. Having talked with the SBA administrator, that one of the great needs will be what's happening with the businesses in that area. And so they are there, and FEMA is already on board.
Now, Major General Hara says the first priority is saving lives, but officials are also working with the communication companies to establish a cell phone on wheels service. I'm Mahea Richardson, Hawaii News Now.
Mahea, thank you. Now, today is a first alert weather day as the threat continues into the early evening.
And the winds are coming down, but strong gusts are still creating dangerous fire weather conditions. Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Robbins has your forecast. Hey, Jen.
And we already saw those winds peak. As we take a closer look at what's happening, here's your first alert weather day. And we will be seeing that area of high pressure north of the islands continue to dominate the forecast. But notice the location of Dora now continuing to pull away from us. But it was with Dora at its peak yesterday when it was just moving south of the islands. We saw that tight pressure gradient or difference. And that's when we saw the peak wind gusts up to even 80 miles per hour on on Hawaii Island. Taking a closer look, weather usually detects, or the radar usually detects, the pulses that hit water particles that reflects back, called radar echoes, and that's usually rain, precipitation, snow, as you know. But today we actually has been seeing smoke from the fires with those radar returns, and we still see that present. It's not as thick as it was yesterday, but we're still seeing those returns come back as smoky conditions. So poor visibility has been a concern for us. A small craft advisory remains up. Wind advisories are now up at least through Thursday morning. That red flag warning has been extended now until tomorrow morning as well. The winds are backing down, but still very strong. You see the peak gusts earlier today were about 40 miles per hour in comparison to yesterday at 60 miles per hour over on Maui. I'll take a closer look at the rest of your First Alert forecast coming up shortly. Let's check in with Jonathan in First Alert Traffic.
Well, right off the top, we have to tell you that no traffic is being allowed into the Lahaina area. So Maui County officials are saying if you have to leave that area, it's best that you go around Kahakaloa. Obviously, the western side, the roads are not as wide, but be very mindful that the purple is in effect there. Also, all of the roadways that are into Lahaina are closed as we speak. And at this hour, there are 4 buses that are at the Sheraton Ka'anapali. This is to help you. If you're a visitor trying to get to the airport, you're being allowed to get into that bus and get to the airport in a safe manner. Other closes around the island right by Ma'alaya. The Honoapi'ilani Highway is shut for all traffic as well. Maui Police has posted several officers there, and Omapio Road that goes up to Kula also blocked off. And as you can see, the Upper Kula Road and Haleakala Highway all shut off, as Lynn was reporting today. So again, major shutdown still in effect. Best to keep it on the radio and on Hawaii News Now for the latest details. Mark and Ash, back to you.
Jonathan, thank you. And since the onset of the deadly fires, there's been an outpouring of aloha. If you'd like to help, GoFundMe has compiled a list of verified fundraisers for families and community members impacted by the disaster. We have a link on our website at hawaiinewsnow.com. You can also scan the QR code on the bottom of the screen, linking directly to HNN's special coverage section on our website. We'll be right back.